Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this video, I'm going to be discussing the 1990s. His comic book movies are such a big thing now. Since that Black Panther movie came out, we decided to do a review of actually a comic strip character, and that's 1990s Dick Tracy film, starring William Beatty, Madonna, Al Pacino. Also has Dustin Hoffman as well. And of course, well, this movie is pretty. A lot of people kind of forgot about this movie, but I haven't, because I have the soundtrack to remember Madonna's performance in it. Warren Beatty's performance because it's a little bit dated. Also, I should mention that Warren Beatty also directed this movie. Of course, this movie, is a follow-up to 1989's Batman, because Batman became such a big hit the year before. Movie producers said, "Hey, let's make another comic book movie, a comic strip movie." And of course, we were talking about maybe bringing in Spider-Man at that time. Fortunately, Spider-Man won't be made to another 12 years later as a theatrical movie, but they decided to go back to a little old school and do Dick Tracy. Now, Dick Tracy was a very popular comic strip character. I think it was also a radio show back in the 30s. So it goes back a long, long way. And also back in the 1960s, there was a cartoon series, which we're going to mention as soon as I get through most of the movie review here. And so I decided to do a big budget Dick Tracy film. Of course, Dick Tracy, of course, is a famous police detective, and he wears a yellow coat and a hat and a fedora hat, and he always has a watch that could talk to his other police officers. "Yeah, this is Tracy, come in." We do that bit. And of course, in Dick Tracy universe, you have a bunch of colorful characters with nicknames that reflect who they actually are. Like Flat Top. And he has a fat, top of his head is completely flat. Or Prune Face. His face is all wrinkled, looks like a prune. You had a guy like Dustin Hoffman play mumbles. So of course, the guy just mumbles. You can't understand a word this guy is saying. So you have all these really colorful characters, and Al Pacino plays the main mob boss, playing Big Pants Caprice, or Big Boy Caprice, I should say. As a big pants, because of the pants. Caprice is like a pants type of slacks. So this is big boy Caprice trying to control this mob and try and kill Dick Tracy. That's pretty much what the plot of the whole movie. And Madonna plays a nightclub singer named Breathless Mahoney, and of course, who eventually helps Dick Tracy out by playing another character. I don't remember this character was in the Dick Tracy comic strip. It's been a long time since I've seen a Dick Tracy comic strip. They appeared in the newspapers, like the New York Daily News used to print out the Dick Tracy comic strip in the papers every day. Playing like a blank face, which was of course Madonna in disguise, or Breathless in disguise. And of course, the thing that really sold this movie was the art design, which I think won an Academy Award for the art design. The soundtrack, which of course was terrific, and of course Madonna sang practically most of all the songs from the soundtrack, including the Oscar-winning song "Sooner or Later," which is one of the best songs that Madonna ever performed. Not just of course in the movies, but on a soundtrack. And of course, there's one controversial thing with Dick Tracy that got blasted for. Like earlier, I mentioned that this was a follow-up of a comic book or comic strip character following up Batman from the year before. And of course, the year before, in the 1990 Academy Awards, Jack Nicholson was not nominated for playing the Joker in the 1989 Batman film. Well, when the Academy Awards nominations came out for the movie in 1990, Al Pacino was nominated for playing Big Boy Caprice in Dick Tracy. And he was really an over-the-top performance that Al Pacino gave, which the Oscar eventually, obviously didn't go to Al Pacino, but Dances with Wolves came out that year and won the Oscar for best picture. And also Goodfellas came out that year as well. So anyway, Al Pacino was nominated for playing Big Boy Caprice, and Jack Nicholson wasn't nominated for Batman. So there was a huge controversy over that. That how come Al Pacino got nominated and Jack Nicholson didn't? So there was big controversy and big stink what happened there. But the movie itself. It is an entertainment. Is it the best comic book movie adaptation? Is it no? But I just rewatched it the other night, and I think, since I haven't seen Dick Tracy in a long time, go watch Dick Tracy. And I do remember that Madonna's performance. She gave a terrific. I mean, other than Evita, this is the other terrific performance that Madonna ever gave in the movie. And I thought she was terrific. She was hot. She was sexy. She was beautiful in this movie, and she deserved. In my opinion, she deserved to have an Oscar nomination for this movie for Dick Tracy. Evita, she didn't get a nomination for Evita either. Which like 6 years later played Evita, and she didn't get nominated either. That was another part of the Oscar screw jobs. But Madonna not getting nominated because I think it had to do more of a reputation. During all these like slutty music videos, like for "Justify My Love," which also came out in 1990. So because of that song or the music video, I should say, and the other videos she did for that prayer video she did. Or like a prayer video. And I guess maybe because of that, and Madonna's already been controversial in her career. So I guess maybe because of that, she didn't get nominated for this role for Dick Tracy or for Evita. Now, of course, like I mentioned earlier, there was a 1960s cartoon series of Dick Tracy, and I do remember watching when I was little, like when I was born in 1970, when I was real young in the 1970s. I remember that cartoon series, and to hype the movie because the Dick Tracy movie was coming out. Channel 5 here in New York City, which is a Fox affiliate for the Fox Television Network, decided to air the Dick Tracy cartoon during the day. During the afternoon or after school programming, aired the Dick Tracy cartoon, and it was pretty controversial in the political correct times that we're living in today. That cartoon, by the end of that week, the hype for the Dick Tracy film was pulled from Channel 5, simply because of the fact that it has stereotypical characters in that movie. I mean, it does have all the, except for the Big Boy Caprice character that was in the Al Pacino plays in the movie. All the other Dick Tracy villains were in this cartoon series, but the problem is that the cops who beat the Dick Tracy villains, like Flat Top, Mumbles, Spoonface, all stereotypical characters, and which is not politically correct even back then, 1990, when for the Dick Tracy movie, that was not politically correct then. There was one character who was a dog police officer who spoke with an Irish accent, and every time when Dick Tracy, it was started off in the cartoon, it was started off in the beginning with Dick Tracy calling in one of these characters, and Dick Tracy calling Jimbo Jones or whomever, and then the cop would answer on the radio watch and say, "Yeah, come in, Tracy. You have to stop Flat Top or Poolface." And so, okay, and then goes and stops him. And by the end of the cartoon, he gets congratulated by Dick Tracy, whichever character it is, and whatever villain is in that cartoon. So there's one, like I said, there's one that's an Irish cop ordered by a fruit stand, trying to swipe an apple. There's one that was like a Mexican character. He's always lazy. He's always sleeping in the hammock with his arms up like this, sleeping in the hammock. So it implies that all Mexicans are lazy, always sleeping in hammocks and stuff. Thank you, Teresa. Had a big sombrero. This guy. I forgot what other characters that like stereotypical characters in that Dick Tracy cartoon. But people just got, got upset over it. It's been like years, but like at least 10 years or so. The Dick Tracy cartoon was airing on regular television, so like I said earlier, they tried to hype the movie by playing the Dick Tracy cartoon. Kind of like what they did with the Spider-Man movies, in terms of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, when they released a DVD of cartoons from Spider-Man the Animated Series they aired on Fox. They tried to do the same thing, but because it's actually 1990, there's no DVDs in 1990 yet. Like 7 years before the DVDs were invented. So they decided to air on regular television, and they, like I said earlier, it was quickly pulled by the end of the week. But it was took away some of the hype from the Dick Tracy movie. Kind of hurt the hype for it. But like I said, other than Madonna's performance and Warren Beatty's wouldn't acting, and of course I should also mention in the movie that this was like the annoying little character, this little kid in the movie that has no parents, nothing. So what's your name? I said, my name is just Kid. That's it. And of course he earned such a bond with Dick Tracy, he decided, I picked a name for myself. And hey Tracy, I picked a name for myself. And I hope you don't mind, I picked Dick Tracy Jr. And that's how, the movie ends with this kid revealing to Tracy they picked Dick Tracy Jr. as his name. And it was kind of lame, kind of a lame bit, but I think the art direction, a lot of it was like matte paintings. I mean, you can tell it's a matte painting because there's no CGI then really to fall back on. But you can tell that a lot of the background effects were like fake. I mean, you can tell that's fake. But the art direction was really stunning. I think, like I said earlier, I think it won an Oscar for the art design. And of course, the song, like I mentioned earlier, sooner or later won the Academy Award for best song. And Madonna performed at the Oscars that song and a song from years later, like performed the song from Evita, the original song, and like I said, she deserved to have an Oscar nomination for that role. Madonna was really terrific. This one and Evita and A League of Their Own were the three best movies that Madonna's ever appeared in. The rest of them you could avoid. But Madonna was really terrific in this thing. And I wish that Madonna could go back to those type of movie roles. But she hasn't made a movie in like years, and you can understand why, because a lot of her movies are crap. But Dick Tracy was great. And Warren Beatty gave more of a warm performance. He played that character so straight. He played Dick Tracy so straight. I mean, it was really, too straight for his own good. But I do recommend this movie for those of you who remember the Dick Tracy comic strips and Dick Tracy cartoon that I mentioned earlier. So that's my review of the film Dick Tracy. Please click on the video, please rate it, feel free to comment on it. Please subscribe to my channel. Please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews on my YouTube channel at rallyc.com. That's all WDY. C.com. That's my homepage of the Rally Reviewer. Chris Lee Moore. Please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.